Hey, it's Monday, so Miss Pegram's going to read to you. Our story this week is Review. It is Farfallina and Marcel by Holly Keller, and the genre is a fantasy because animals are not doing animal things. Animals are doing people things. So as you read, think about their friendship, how it's a made-up story, but how it could remind you of one of your friendships. And so I want you to follow along with me as I read. Farfallina and Marcel is found on 258. The rain fell all morning. It splattered on the pond and splashed on Farfallina's leaf. She found a dry spot and ate it. "Hey," said a little voice, "you're eating my umbrella." Farfallina peered over the edge. A small gray bird was huddled underneath. Farfallina liked his soft feathers and his gentle eyes. "I'm Farfallina," she said, and she slid down to the ground. "Well, my name is Marcel," said the bird. He liked Farfallina's smile and her pretty colors. The rain turned to drizzle, and Farfallina wanted to play. "I'll hide and you find me," she said. Marcel agreed. Farfallina hid under a fern close to the ground because she knew that Marcel couldn't climb. "Now I'll hide," said Marcel when he found her, and he hid right behind the tree because he knew that Farfallina moved slowly. As you read, you're going to make inferences, and we've practiced that before. But on 261, here's a note about that, and it's just a reminder of how you're supposed to make the story make sense as you read along. Use clues from the story to make an inference about the way Farfallina and Marcel feel about each other. So when we've talked about this before, how do you think they feel about each other? They're making sure each has a turn. They're being kind to one another. So do you think they like each other? That's a smart guess. That's what an inference is, okay? If you inferred, or if your guess was they're probably going to get in a fight, that would not be a smart guess. That could happen, but not based on the clues that are on this page. So that's how you decide and make smart guesses. Inferencing. "I can take you for a ride on the pond." Did I skip a page? All right. "I can take you for a ride on the pond," said Marcel. Farfallina inched her way up to Marcel's back. "You tickle," said Marcel as he slipped into the water. Farfallina giggled. "There's so much to see," she said. Farfallina and Marcel played together every day. They liked the same games and they liked each other. But one day, Farfallina was not herself. "I'm not sick," she told Marcel, "just a little uncomfortable. I need to climb up on top of a branch and rest for a while." Mr. Sherwood, keep getting snacks. "I'll wait for you," Marcel. Okay, I'm going to try that again. "I'll wait for you," Marcel called as Farfallina made her way up the tree. Marcel watched until Farfallina was completely out of sight. Then he settled himself in the grass and he waited. Night came and then morning, but Farfallina didn't come down. Marcel called to her, but she didn't answer. He was very worried and terribly lonely. Weeks went by. The afternoons grew longer and warmer, and Marcel went to the pond. He was growing, and when he looked at his reflection in the water, he hardly recognized himself. He went back to the tree every day to look for Farfallina, but she was never there. And after a while, he gave up. At the top of the tree, Farfallina was snuggled in a blanket of glossy silk. She was growing too. The sky was blue and clear the morning she was ready to come out and open her beautiful wings. She had no idea how long she had been up in the tree, and she floated down to find Marcel. "I'll just wait," said Farfallina when she didn't see him, and she sat on a flower. Night came, and then morning, but Marcel wasn't there. Farfallina was tired and confused. She fluttered around a bit and went to the pond. "Hold on. Come here. Come here. Get back up here." Sorry. The pond was glassy smooth except for the ripples made by a large, handsome goose who was swimming in solitary circles. Farfallina shivered with disappointment. She went to the pond every day to look for the small gray bird named Marcel, but he never came. One morning the goose stopped his silent rounds and spoke to her. "You must like it here," he said. Farfallina fluttered a bit. "I've been waiting on a friend." I'm going to try that again. I read it wrong. "I've been waiting for a friend," she said sadly, "but I don't think he'll come." Marcel liked her smile and her brilliant colors. "I know how you feel," he said. "I lost a friend too. She just vanished in thin air." Farfallina liked his sleek feathers and his gentle eyes. A ride around the pond might cheer... I'm sorry. I'm going to try that again. Farfallina liked his sleek feathers and his gentle eyes. "A ride around the pond might cheer you up," Marcel said. Farfallina thought it would, and she settled herself on Marcel's back. "It's funny, Marcel, but I feel as though I've known you a long time." "I was just thinking the same thing," said Farfallina. "My name is Farfallina. What's yours?" Marcel stopped suddenly. He beat the water with his strong wings. Then he swam around and round and round. "It's me, Farfallina," he shouted. "It's me, Marcel. Is that really you?" "It is," Farfallina shouted back. They looked at each other and laughed. By evening, they had explained everything, and they fell asleep, smiling at the stars. Farfallina and Marcel spent the rest of the summer playing just as they had before. Marcel was careful not to fly too fast because he knew that Farfallina couldn't keep up. Farfallina didn't hide in the flowers because she knew that Marcel would never find her. And when the leaves on the trees around the pond turned red and gold, they decided to go south together. Okay, this is a story about two special friends and the fact that we know animals grow and change. Now, a butterfly has a life cycle just like a plant has a life cycle. It goes through different stages and changes, and we all do. So if you want to look back before the story, there's another story. Go back before the super croc. There's also a story of the water cycle. That is another cycle that goes through different phases and different stages. All right, so that's on 234 and 235 if you want to look at that. All right, that's your story this week. Thank you, guys.